Returning All-Americans Mason Fletcher and Dontay Corleone. Coach will start us off with a quick opening statement. Then please raise your hands for questions for the student athletes and coach. Coach Satterfield.
Yeah, I think first of all, just want to have this press conference, just get together, talk a little bit about what's happening on our team, and then where we're moving forward with. First of all, awesome to have these two guys sitting here beside me as you think about pillars of the program. These two guys here are certainly great examples of that. Phenomenal human beings, but really outstanding football players as well. And it's a huge importance for me to be able to have these guys come back and be a part of this team. I mean, I think they're obviously great leaders, but to have them in the locker room, to have them training in the offseason program, and all those type things, I think are obviously huge. And not only these two guys, you think about 5 starters back on the offensive line, on an offensive line that finished 5th in the country in rushing. I mean, that's huge to have those guys come back. Corey Kiner, which is one of the hardest working players that I've been around. Every day he's in there doing something, and he's a guy who rushed for 1,000 yards, and something that's not to take lightly. I think that's huge. The first year in the Big 12 to have a 1,000-yard rusher, that's phenomenal. For the guys up front and for Corey, the way he put together a great season, and to have him coming back, a Cincinnati kid, that's that just again a great example of what we want to have in our program. We're excited about where we're headed. Obviously disappointed in our record last year. We outgained, I think 6 opponents by more than 100 yards. So that tells you we're not that far off. We did not do the things that were good enough to seal games. I think, and it comes down to being disciplined. And I think, that's ultimately these games. A lot of are decided in the fourth quarter, and it's the team that's the most disciplined, the team that does things right the majority of the time. And I'm talking off the field and on the field. And so we want to fill that locker room with those type of individuals, because when it gets down to it, it's crunch time. We got to make the play. Those guys will make the plays because they do things right. And guys like this that do things right, that will have a strong voice in the locker room. We need that. And I think about some of the other guys that'll be coming up. They're the same way. So. We're excited about the future of it, the program. We're looking forward to December 20th, where we have, be over 20 high school players that will be signing with us. Excited about those guys. And as you guys know, we're right in the beginning of portal season. And so we're looking to add some players in that regard. And certainly these guys will be involved, and, Kendra and Gerhardt and these guys will be involved in that process, because, man, this is their team. And they want to bring in quality individuals. And I think more than anything is quality people and individuals, and that's what we're looking to do. So I open up with questions.
Chad.
Coach, the importance, can it not be stated of finding maybe that core as you go into speed dating season? Because, I mean, it's chaos, and you're trying to find people you have a connection here, there, any which way, but how critical was it that week before to say, okay, this is the foundation of what we are going forward, and those guys are all on board?
Yeah, you can't say anything louder. I mean, to be able to have the core leadership of our team from last year, and these guys have had great success throughout their careers individually, but also as team players. And to go through what we went through last year, and for these guys to continue to lead and to continue to try to be a positive example, I mean, it's huge. And to carry this into the offseason is huge. And so when you think about bringing over 20 freshmen in here that need to be able to look up to these guys right here to say, all right, this is how it's done. This is how you're supposed to work. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself. We need great examples of those guys, character guys that can show these young people how they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to act. I think that's huge. And so, yeah, you can't say it loud enough how awesome it is to be able to get these guys back in the program. And and here's the other thing. I mean, these guys, man, you think about the portal, like these guys on the market could have went out there and landed at a lot of other great places, right? And could have went to the next level, professionally. I mean, there's a lot of avenues these guys could have taken, and but the fact of them to say, hey, listen, we're coming back. We want to see this program get to a great place and get back to a great place, and to be those kind of leaders that we want to have in the program. It says a lot about who they are individually.
Dontay, how much of your staying was what the city means to you, what the school means to you, and then second part, getting that bad taste out of your mouth from what happened this year, and third, how much of it really was you just couldn't go somewhere that there wasn't skyline.
Yeah, for me, it's legacy. I want to finish off on top, like just finish it on a high note. And second, I just want to help Coach Sat. Somebody I can go to talk to about anything. I want to build a foundation. You said December 20th. That's where all the freshmen come in. So that's my job this year, and Footy job, and just all the other people on the team that's still here, trying to build that foundation. That's where it started at. Them freshmen, we gotta teach them the highs and lows of this game, because they're not gonna know anything come there. So we just gotta teach them one day at a time. It's just I'm big on loyalty. Money's not money's not the main point for me. I just want to learn how to be professional at the end of the day. I feel like I needed more of that, so that's why it was a big part of me coming back. I know Coach Sat and that great staff he got could help me with that. So that's why I was it was a hard, but it wasn't. So it was an easy decision to come back, especially because we got such a great leader, a head coach. So it's an easy decision for me to make. But yeah, I'm a Bearcat. I'm excited to get to work. But also, what Coach said earlier, it's not my part to be around these transfer portal guys, so I can know if they're gonna buy in or not. So that's my job, and that's Footy's job, and then the rest of the team. We got to be collective, including the fans. It's all one. We all got one goal, and that's win a championship. So we got to build the brick by brick. So that's the foundation. That's what we got to keep going on. So that's something I'm very excited about, and I just wake up with a smile on my face every day that we're gonna find the best people to get in this team to buy in.
And Skyline.
And Skyline, of course.
Keegan and then Scott.
Dontay, kind of continuing with the portal, you're obviously from Cincinnati, you've played here for so long. What kind of specific mindset and what kind of person coming out of the portal do these guys need to be to kind of fit in this culture of Cincinnati and achieve what you guys want to achieve?
Yeah, just three things: taking coaching, wanting to buy in, and just flat out just holding each other accountable. Those are the big three things you gotta have. If you want to be under Coach Sat, that's what those just big three main objectives. So we're gonna find people that want to buy in, and if not, we don't want you. So we're just gonna keep just being honest, but we're just gonna keep trying to find the best players out that want to buy in at the end of the day.
Are you still at 12 to 14? That was your initial gauge. And
Yeah, it's obviously fluid. We'll see where that number lands, but roughly in that somewhere in that ballpark.
Also, are you taken aback by how crazy it's been, just the sheer numbers and some of the names, and you guys probably know some of these guys. Do you look at it and go, holy crap, that guy's in there?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Nothing really surprises me anymore. But I think this year, obviously, I think this thing has been going on now, for 2 or 3 years, and each year has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. It's I love and appreciate loyalty. I really do. Like with Dontay and what he just mentioned. I think that is few and far between. I think anymore. And but here's the other thing. You don't want to put everybody in the same category, because every situation is different. Somebody's reasoning for leaving their school is maybe different than someone else's, and everybody's got their reasons, right? And so for us, as we're looking to bring a part of the Bearcat family, is all right, what's your reasoning for leaving? All right, what's your issues, and what are you looking out of this, trying to get out of this? And so we have to do a great job of vetting the guys and try to bring the right ones in, and the ones that, like you mentioned, that would take coaching, that will want to be a part of a team, because this is a unique sport. This is not like some of these other sports, particularly individual sports. It's a team sport. There's 11 guys on the field at one time. I'm one, but I am playing for the other 10 that I'm out there on the field with. And this sport, if you do that, then you're going to have some great individual success. But if all you care about is yourself, then you're not. You're not going to have success. The team's not going to have success. So as we're looking to bring, that's the kind we want to look to bring in guys that, listen, they all want individual success. We get that, but you got to do it within the team structure, and that's the thing that we have to find. Guys that want to put the work in to do it as a team.
Ryan, then Chad.
Coach, you mentioned this offseason is going to be really hard, not only for the players, but also the coaches. Can you just describe some of the differences in this offseason playing compared to last year?
Yeah, for me, I got a much better feel about who we got in the locker room. I come in here, I have no idea. Dontay used to come hang out in my office all the time in the offseason, so I knew him, but you just don't really know what makes people tick and those type things. So we got a great feel for that now. But it's like, all seasons are supposed to be hard. They're always hard. I mean, that's part of it. You go through it because you break everybody down and then we build everybody back up. There's going to be early morning stuff that we're going to be doing, competition, lifting and running, and all the things that most programs all do. We'll split our guys up into teams and have competitions within the teams. We're going to put coaches on these teams as well. And we're holding everybody accountable. There's going to be repercussions for people that don't do right and that don't win certain competitions. But so we're all going to be in this together, the coaches and the players. Hopefully, it'll bring us really close. As we think about doing these particular teams, I think we're going to have 6 different teams. Well, they're going to be a mix of all different position groups and coaches. So everybody gets to know everybody a little bit better that way. And I just think it brings you tighter and closer. And you'll face adversity throughout this winter program. How you going to react, and so what you try to create is adversity that we faced during the season, like, how people react. That's when you see true colors, and so we're going to try to see that and find that out in the off season as opposed to during the season.
Fletch, in your return announcement, you mentioned getting healthy. Just take us through some of the struggles that you had physically this year to stay on the field. And then you're an All-American, you're an all-conference guy. You could have gone pretty much anywhere that you wanted. Why stay? Why the decision to see this thing through?
Yeah, so for the first part, I kind of just had, I guess at the end of last year, kind of returned with some like a sports hernia type stuff, and then some real sort of tightness in my groins, and couldn't really figure that out for the whole season, and we didn't know whether to operate or not, and decided just to go with. I was kicking well enough to go through the season, and I don't think I was unbelievable this season like I maybe had been last year, but I thought I did pretty well this year, and our whole punt team as a group, considering how much that had changed, even with the young guys on that unit, I think we're 15, 16 in the country, so pretty proud of them, and those young guys like Jonathan Thompson, who's coming back next year. I guess answering your next question, a guy like that sort of is a big motivation for me because I see a guy like that being a really damn good football player, and that's someone that I want to be around next year, and that's someone that I want to help grow. And we had a lot of young guys this year that we've retained that are going to come back and have played a lot of football where in other situations or in other teams that I've been in, you kind of didn't get your chance because there's so many guys in front of you and stuff like that. But this city means a lot to me, and I've been here for 3 years now, and it was Coach Mason, special teams coach, who's doing this job for the Colts at the moment, doing really well for himself, so good on him. But he recruited me, and he took a shot on me, and I think we kicked over FaceTime, and that's just how it was back in the day, and back in the days of COVID, and he took a shot on me, and the rest is history, and the city's really looked after me, and to be honest with you, there was kind of no question with me coming back, to be honest. I mean, there was agents and all those stuff that are always going to be in the picture, but my dad always kind of said to me, money and that stuff will kind of come, and you don't get to be in college for forever, and just enjoy that. And there was no real worry for me coming back or not.
That's kind of what I was going to get to next. How do you lean? Do you lean on your dad, your grandpa, on that ability to? They've been professional athletes and they know what this is about. How much do you lean on them?
Yeah, a lot for sure. And I'm very lucky and blessed to be in a situation like that where I've had two blood-related people that I grew up and they raised me to be the man I am today. To be so close to them, even though I am so far away. I've been so lucky in that sense because he's been through it. He did it for 20 years. My grandpa did it for 15 years, and they've been hugely successful in their own game. And I think professional sport and being a professional athlete, no matter where it's Australian football or American football, there's some similarities there. So to be able to lean on them has been awesome.
Dontay, Mason, obviously you guys talked about the importance of coming back, but how important is it for this offseason with guys like yourselves, Dontay Mason, the offensive line returning, Corey? What's been the big emphasis for you guys heading into this offseason? Obviously you talk about the leadership. What's the biggest focus as you guys are heading into this offseason with this group?
I think kind of just going with what I just said before, like a guy like Jonathan Thompson, it's someone we've got a crux of those players. I think Barry Jackson's going to be a damn good footballer as well. They're the people that need what Dontay said before. They need to be guided. They don't need to be, we don't need to be breathing down their neck all the time, but they're people that need to be guided by someone like me and Dontay, who's been here for 3 years and seen success and seen how a team works together. And it's going to be huge, and I'm really excited for it, to be honest, because I learned more last year than I've learned. I was just saying to my dad the other night, I learned more last year than I had in my whole career of playing sport. And I think you obviously don't want seasons like that, and it leaves a really sour taste in your mouth, and it's heartbreaking, to be honest, because you go through all that struggle to not end with the amount of wins you want to, but at the same time too, there's a lot of positives that we can take from last season going into next season.
Couple more, Justin and JT.
Oh, to add to that, but at the end of the day, I say foundation again, but we got a lot of young guys that can play. I just feel like my motivation this year to tell them is like to stay ready. Like Kalen Carroll was a guy that he probably wasn't expecting to play this year, and he played really well at the end of the year. So the young guys, I'm gonna tell the young guys this year to stay ready, just keep working. Even though you got a red shirt, the red shirt was a big year for me. Losing all that weight and then getting my confidence back, and then just taking off from there is like a lot. So I just tell them to stay patient and just keep working.
Coach, those exit meetings you have, whether it's a player ends up staying or a player goes in the portal, what do those look like in general? And, what kind of expectations are maybe talked about when you have those meetings with players?
Yeah, I mean, I think, those conversations that, are had with the position coaches, you have those at the end of the season because you want to find out what's going on. You also, for young guys, you say, hey, listen, here's the things you did great this year. Here's where you need to improve, and you set goals. You figure out how to get better as you move forward, and then you figure out, all right, well, who's not going to be a part of this, and who's so those type of things you figure out. I think for coaches, for us, we figure out, all right, here's our plan moving forward now after having these exit meetings, because you don't truly know what's going to happen, when you have these exit meetings, and everybody across the country is certainly having those. That's why the NCAA made those days dead, for those first 3 or 4 days in the last week of the season. So you can talk with your players now, because it's a different era of football, college football, and these teams are turning over a lot. And for me, in a perfect world, we don't want to turn over a lot of our players. We want to keep our guys intact. Certainly the guys that are doing things right, and the guys that are playmakers for you. And there's some guys, and these guys mentioned them, some young players like JT. I mean, it's a very young player. We got to play a lot this year, and he made some mistakes, but he's going to grow and he's going to learn, and that's part of going through some adversity. As you learn and you come out the other side so much better. And so those are some of the conversations you have in the exit meetings about, man, we see a really bright future for you, and you keep doing the things you're doing, you keep working, man, and you're going to be a great player. And I think it's hard sometimes for young players. I think about like a Barry Jackson who, we were in a red shirt, and he played in 4 games. I'm sure he wanted to play a lot this year. But he's a true freshman, and just like Dontay went through a red shirt year. You do that, you grow a lot. Now on the other side of that, man, you're going to be so much better. They'll be appreciative of it, I think, later on. But as you go through it, it's a little bit tougher. So just having those conversations of just continue to be positive and lift these guys up.
Last couple, JT, then Keegan.
All right, Mason and Dontay. Mason and Dontay, why was it so important for you guys to announce that you were coming back before the portal opened?
Just to let the portal guys know that like two of the best players returning, just to show like how like the program's still gonna be intact, but like we still gonna have the players here to support and recruit. So we're gonna try to recruit the best players. Just to show them like we're very excited to come back next year and just do what we gotta do.
Just, I guess, as well, to add to that, just to show people that this is a place that I want to be at, and that Dontay wants to be at, and that people want to come to, and they should want to come here. It's a really proud city, and that loves all their sports, and they probably struggled a little bit this year across the board, but it's a city that absolutely loves their sports. And as I said before, there's no one else I'd want to play for, and it was not difficult for me to come back, to be honest. And it kind of sounds crazy with the transfer portal being what it is at the moment, and all these schools and stuff like that, but it's not difficult for me. This is a place that I want to be at, and it's where I want to finish off my career, hopefully on a really positive note, and kids in the portal should know that.
Final question, Keegan.
Coach, are there any specific positions of interest that you and the recruiting staff are looking after in the portal?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly, there's not any position that's off limits. We're going to look at all positions, but obviously you're trying to fill in some gaps. The defensive back room, we'll obviously fill in some gaps there. Linebacker room, receiver room. We lost some of the guys out there. So I do think we'll look, and you want to see what's out there. You want to see maybe, all right, gauge interest of anybody that may be interested, and then kind of go down that road. It's a very fluid process. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. Things change, I would say every day, but really every hour. Things changing now over the next 2 weeks. These next 2 weeks are going to be extremely critical. Then it ends up going dead there in the December 20th week. And, and then it's dead all the way up until the beginning of January. And then, of course, we start classes. So for us, these next 2 weeks are going to be very important about, getting the right guys on campus and figuring out where we need to go from there.
You're okay at punter though, right?
Yeah, I think we're in good hands in the punt game. Got my man Fletcher right here. We're in great shape. We're in great shape. So probably don't need to be looking for a punter.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.